Malala Fund's mission is deeply personal for both of us.
And every moment that we delay, girls lose their chance on education and we can't slow down. You know, I'm a mother and I have a 6-year-old child and he just learned to read. And I have witnessed the transformation of his confidence.
I was 11 years old and I just could not imagine a future without school, without learning. When I think about all of this, I know that there is so much more for us to do. And what inspires me to be more determined to this work is the resilience and the determination of girls.
My turn now.
Okay, are you guys ready?
Hi, Malala.
Hi, Lena.
So as you know, I was in Pakistan recently and I visited your family's home in Shangla, and it was an incredible experience. I met so many members of your community. I saw where you spent family gatherings and Eids, and I saw so many girls and met so many young women who had a very similar grit and determination that you have, and it was a really wonderful experience. I really felt immense pride too, and I gained a lot of respect for you and your father and what you have done for girls since your journey there. So I want to ask you something. I would love to know what you remember the most about growing up there, and if there was a particular moment that sparked your activism for girls' education.
Wow, I miss my hometown. I miss Shangla, I miss Swat Valley. I feel so lucky that I was able to spend my time in that beautiful place and be with these incredible girls, my friends who had such a big passion for their education. And I remember going to our village, and every time when we would go there, my female friends would arrange a trip to be by the river. So I just remember being closer to the water, enjoying nature. And I have so many incredible memories from my school time in Swat Valley with my friends, my best friend Muniba, who I'm still in touch with. And we would talk about our dreams, the future we want for ourselves. We would play cricket and badminton on the school rooftop, and we would just giggle and talk about something completely, senseless, but that was like the best time of our life. And it was quite rare to see students being so passionate about their education that they never wanted to leave school. And we were one of those. We always had the best time in school. And this is where my passion for girls' education began, because I saw how education transforms a girl's life and how it transforms a community. And when we went through that time when an extremist group, the Taliban, took control of our valley and they banned girls' education, I knew what to do. I knew we had to speak out for our right to be able to learn, because it was our emancipation. It was our way of empowerment, and that's how the journey began. I became an activist at 11 years old.
So Malala, now more than 15 years since you began speaking out for girls' education, what do you think are the barriers that are still preventing girls from going to school?
Reflecting on the past 10-15 years, there are so many things that I'm proud of. The work that we as an organization have led, and the work that the activists who we support have led. And in the past 10 years, we have seen how the enrollment of girls in schools have increased by 50 million since 2015. However, we have to look at the setbacks as well and the challenges. Of course, when we look at the out-of-school children, the number has been stagnant. It has not been going down as much. In places like sub-Saharan Africa, it's actually worsening. More children are out of school. Then I think about the situation of girls in Afghanistan. Afghanistan is the only country in the world where girls are prohibited from learning. It's a crime for a girl to be in school, where they're living under a gender apartheid and they're limited from every opportunity. And then looking at the situation in both Nigeria and Pakistan, where there are so many challenges on the ground, from the quality of teaching to hidden school fees to other like natural disasters like floods impacting or girls' education, or conflicts and wars. And when we think about the situation in Gaza, where there is literally no school left for children, looking at the situation in Tanzania, Brazil and Ethiopia, where there are so many challenges that girls face, from cultural norms to gender expectations, and just lack of support, lack of facilities for them to be in school. Of course, the list is long, but it means that we have to do something to address these challenges. Otherwise, millions of girls are not able to complete their learning. And that's why I feel like we have to break down these barriers, and we have to build more pressure on governments, on policymakers, and on people who determine the future of girls, who are making decisions about their lives. We have to be standing together with local education activists, and that is the core of how Malala Fund does its work. And I want us to double that, to do even more, to be with the activists who are leading this change on the ground. So I am optimistic about the future. I am more determined than ever, because all of these challenges that we are facing is a reminder to us that this work is urgent, it's critical, and we all need to act on it right now.
You're absolutely right. This is exactly what drives our work at Malala Fund for girls' education, and we have to double down on our efforts, and we have to sharpen our focus to make sure all girls can access education.
We are celebrating 10 years of Malala Fund. I was 16 years old when my father and I came together and we wanted to start this foundation. And we had this vision that we want to live in a world where every girl can learn and choose her own future. So here we are celebrating 10 years, but I would love to know, how has Malala Fund been a champion for girls' education in the past 10 years?
Malala Fund's approach over the last 10 years has always been to invest in local education activists and leaders. We know that they absolutely understand the barriers that keep girls out of school, and they know the solutions to break those barriers down. And how we can support is to provide the resources, the support, the amplification to help them do that work. So in the past 10 years, Malala Fund has given over 400 grants to education leaders in the countries where girls face the greatest barriers to education. And collectively, they've reached over 22 million girls. It's a milestone we are really proud of. And in that time, we have learned a lot. And we've learned from our partners, we've learned from the girls we've worked with, we've learned from others in the sector, we've learned from our donors and partners. And we've learned that systemic change, the kind of change we want to see for girls, does not happen overnight. It takes time, it takes perseverance and persistence, it takes coalition building, it takes working alongside our partners, it takes listening to girls, and it takes never giving up.
Looking ahead at the work of Malala Fund, we have set ambitious goals. So can you tell us, what are we going to do in the next 5 years?
At Malala Fund, as you know, we believe education is not a fortunate privilege for a few, but a fundamental right for every girl. And so over the next 5 years, we are focusing on 4 priorities at Malala Fund. The first is that we plan to invest in civil society and invest in the education activists we've continued to work with for the last 10 years, really sharpening our focus on making sure they can tackle the barriers that keep girls out of school alongside their rights to education and the resourcing for education. As you know, and we all know, a strong civil society is the bedrock of change. Our second priority is that we want to double down on Pakistan and Nigeria, 2 countries with some of the highest rates of out-of-school girls. We have incredible leaders in country who are education activists themselves and are going to advocate alongside our grantees to make sure that girls' education is resourced and that their rights are protected. The third priority is at the global level. We know that there are global systems that don't protect girls' rights and that don't commit the resourcing they need for girls' education. So at the global level, we're going to continue to advocate for Afghan girls to have access to education. We're going to continue to advocate for the codification of gender apartheid to make sure every Afghan girl can go to school. And we're going to advocate for international financing systems to make it possible for lower income countries to invest in their education budgets. Our fourth priority is mobilizing funding for girls who are in crisis. We know that education continues to get rolled back for girls who are impacted by conflict, by climate change, and we want to invest in and support the grassroots leaders who are first responding to keeping girls connected to learning in some form during these situations.
And what role do girls themselves play in these ambitious goals?
It's a great question. Malala Fund has always prioritized centering girls in our work, and we're going to continue to do this in 2 very distinct ways. The first is that we have committed to 20% of our grant making every year will go to young women and girl-led organizations, giving them the power and the resources they need to continue to be the leaders in their communities. The second is that we're working with a Young Women's Advisory Council. These are incredible young women leaders from the countries where we work. We're going to make sure we are keeping girls' real lived experiences in mind when we do our work and continue to be involved in leading the organization's strategic direction.
This is a really important step because I started this organization when I was a girl, but today I am a young woman, and I do believe that we need girls to be involved in the decisions where their futures are determined. We need this at the government level, we need this at the policy level, but we also need it within the organizations who are champions of girls' education. And Malala Fund is a champion of girls' education because Malala Fund's strategy and work is led and is guided by girls. And it's really important that we not only just take them as advisors, but we also involve them in the advocacy work and we fund them. We believe in their leadership. So I hope that this is now a shift in the way we serve girls, that we actually fund them directly, follow their lead, and match their determination and help change the world.
Absolutely, and I hope that other organizations follow suit. And we can't do this work without girls by our side.
Malala Fund's mission is deeply personal for both of us. So I'd love to know, why does the work of Malala Fund remains so urgent and important for you?
Because we know that when we educate a girl, it can transform an entire community. When girls are educated, their economies are stronger, communities are more just, children are healthier. And every moment that we delay, girls lose their chance on an education and we can't slow down. You know, as you know, I'm a mother and I have a 6-year-old child and he just learned to read. And I have witnessed the transformation of his confidence and the way he navigates himself in the world because he's now opened a window into a whole new world through books. And it's something I wish for every girl.
Education will always be so important and personal to me because it has been a part of my whole life. I feel so lucky that I was able to complete my school and graduate from university because I remember that time when girls' education was banned in my hometown and I was 11 years old and I just could not imagine a future without school, without learning. So today when I think about 120 million girls who do not have access to education, I know that there's something for us to do, and this work is so critical. And I think about the girls in Afghanistan who are banned from accessing education, and Afghanistan is the only country in the world where the Taliban, the government, prohibits girls from learning, and it is a form of gender apartheid. In Pakistan, there are so many challenges to girls in accessing education, and we are hearing about the difficulties that girls in Nigeria face, from hidden school fees to other barriers, and the same goes on for Tanzania and Brazil and Ethiopia and many other countries. So when I think about all of this, I know that there is so much more for us to do. And what inspires me to be more determined to this work is the resilience and the determination of girls. They are fighting for their right to be in school. They are facing these barriers and challenges each and every day on their journey, but they're not giving up. So what is our excuse? And that's why I feel like, Malala Fund is doing the least. The real fighters are the girls on the ground. The real true fighters are the activists who are working in these countries on the ground. So the work that we are doing at the national level, at the local level, at the global level is so critical. And I hope that we can continue to do more to, again, just to reiterate, first protect the right to education for girls and secure resources for girls to be able to continue their learning. We have talked about the challenges, our ambitious goals, and our vision to help every girl learn and choose her own future. So for those who are tuning into this conversation, what would you say? How can they help Malala Fund's work?
Well, first they can visit our website, mala.org, to learn more about our work, the countries where we work, and our plans for the next 5 years. They can sign up for our newsletter so they stay up to date. They can follow us on social to follow along on our journey. And most importantly, this is a long fight for girls' education and is one that can only happen with partnership. So I hope they'll consider investing and donating to our work as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And that was such a wonderful conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. This was wonderful.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You're such pros.
Education is the right of every girl, and that is exactly what Malala Fund fights for. Malala Fund's vision for years ahead is to have a world where every girl can learn and choose her own future. And we will be able to do that by securing a complete 12 years of education for every girl. And for that, we are partnering with education activists who are working on the ground, who are leading advocacy for policy change and policy implementation at the national and global level. And I believe we can reach to the most marginalized girls and make education a reality for them by working collectively. So I hope that you will follow the work of Malala Fund, look at the incredible work that girls and young activists are leading on the ground, where girls themselves are the champions for their right to education. And you will support us on this journey, and it will inspire you to find ways in which you can help more girls to get their right to education.